Alright, what is up YouTube? James Baek here, and welcome to the first ever episode of VGC 2019 Baek Battles, right? It's a brand new season, brand new format. This came really unexpected, but I'm going to be trying my best here. We are using the team today of Palkia, Kyogre, Incineroar, Amoonguss, Tapu Lele, and Hawlucha. So we're bringing back some of my favorite Pokemon like to use on the previous series of VGC Baek Battles. It's been really fun. I loved Palkia when I used it. I loved Hawlucha when I used it. Kyogre is one of my favorite Pokemon in general. And yeah, I think we're just going to get started and play some games. But this team I'm bringing, it's a throwback to something I used back in 2016. I experimented around with Life Orb Palkia, because Life Orb Palkia can get a lot of big knockouts right away. And it's a really strong Pokemon in general. For this series, you might be noticing that I'm not going to be using the in-game music, and that's because I really just think we've had enough of it for an entire season. I mean, we went, what, 200, it's going to be like 50 episodes, 250 episodes of VGC 2018 Baek Battles if you have watched it. But yeah, so we're going to be going with some different music from other games. We got our first opponent running a team of Xerneas Yveltal. That's a Golduck, which is interesting since Primal Groudon isn't legal yet until the Ultra series, so it's interesting to see Golduck, especially since Groudon's not that common already. Amoonguss, Gengar, and Metagross is definitely going to be an interesting one. I don't really like my Yveltal matchup, yet I'm okay with the rest of my matchup, I guess. Life Orb Palkia can do a ton of work. I think I do just want to lead off the Palkia and Kyogre because it just puts on so much pressure with Water Spout, Choice Scarf Water Spout, which I am running on this Kyogre. This team's a bit more hyper offense, and usually I don't really tend to start off with hyper offensive teams, but I really want to use Palkia. It's one of my favorite legendaries. Gen 4 was the games I started with, and I really loved Palkia's idea with controlling space. So gonna go with Palkia plus Kyogre. I definitely want Amoonguss in for the Xerneas. And the last Pokemon, Incineroar is tempting. I'm thinking of Lele because Lele's damage output against the Yveltal could be nice. But Incineroar is not really that bad against my opponent's team. I think I will go Incineroar. Having that Intimidate might actually really be clutch here. So we'll see how this first game goes. Not really that experienced with the format. I have been playing quite a bit, especially since I do have Philadelphia Regionals coming up, which I will be most likely competing in. So I've been testing a lot. It's not exactly my strongest format start, I can definitely tell you that, and I feel like I'm a little bit lost, so do not worry if you're feeling lost, because a lot of people that I've talked to, a lot of pro players, they're lost too in this format. We're going to see the Xerneas plus Gengar lead, which is interesting here. I do lead my Palkia and Kyogre, and this is pretty good for me because I will reveal that I'm most likely Choice Scarf if my opponent's like a timid Xerneas. Do reveal that my Palkia is pretty fast here. It's interesting to see the Gengar come out here. I don't know what my opponent's really going to go for. I can see multiple plays here. If you have Amoonguss in the back, you can just bring out Amoonguss and protect Xerneas. I'm not sure if that's going to be a play. It's definitely a potential possible play. I could see just Xerneas protect and Gengar doing something here. I don't want to risk Xerneas setting up or just KOing my Palkia immediately. So I think the best play is just to draw off a Water Spout here. It'll do a lot of damage no matter what, even into the incoming Amoonguss, or bring Gengar down to what I would assume would be a potential Focus Sash. And I'll just be able to get a lot of damage off here, no matter what the situation. Even if Amoonguss comes in, like, Kyogre's a really offensive Pokemon. It just does so much damage with the Water Spout in the rain, and since we're Choice Scarf, we will be able to outspeed unless it's a Scarf Gengar, but it looks like we're going to see the Gengar Protect, maybe Double Protect just to scout out my sets. Looks like no Double Protect here. Gengar Protects, really interesting decision because I'll just be able to knock out Xerneas if I do land the Hydro Pump, as look at that damage from the Water Spout, and I do connect the Hydro Pump. Look at Palkia go, able to knock out the Xerneas. Really nice start, really confusing, I think. I guess my opponent could have also switched into Golduck. That's a potential play, but Water Spout plus Hydro Pump would have KO'd anyway, so Golduck wouldn't really make much sense there. So yeah, I'm really actually interested on what my opponent's thought decision was there, as Yveltal is going to come in, and I could realistically just click Hydro Pump and Water Spout again. I don't really see a reason not to. Even if Yveltal Sucker Punches, that's fine, because the initial damage from Water Spout should just put you in range of Hydro Pump. Life Orb Hydro Pump for Palkia in the range is so much damage. It really does do so much damage. I could also make a safe play and go out into Incineroar, which wouldn't be too bad of a play here, which I'm also considering. And that actually might be my better play in case you Sucker Punch the Palkia and try to get a double knockout into the Palkia slot. Especially since Kyogre might still have some value in this game. Yeah, I actually like it. I'm going to Hydro Pump here, and I think I'm going to go in Incineroar. I feel like it's a safer cover option. I don't really need a Amoonguss anymore, which is also good info because I only brought the Amoonguss for the Xerneas, so I'm pretty happy about how this turn 1's playing out, as we will get Intimidate off into this Yveltal by switching out into the Incineroar. We'll also have Fake Out Pressure the following turn. Icy Wind actually going to come out from the Gengar. Okay. So that's going to slow down my Palkia. I'm really hoping if I just hit this Hydro Pump, I'm pretty sure unless it's a Assault Vest Yveltal or just really specially defensive in general, I should be able to pick up the knockout. So both my speeds fall as Hydro Pump. Unfortunate. Knock off, but it's going to target down the Incineroar, so not too bad, I guess. As it will knock on my Figgy Berry, which is alright here. I could Fake Out Hydro Pump the Yveltal slot. How obvious is that? I feel like it's super obvious. I do want to reset Palkia's speed because I can just outspeed that Yveltal in the future turns and knock out. I know it's not Life Orb Yveltal, so I'm pretty happy about that. I think I'm just going to protect Palkia here and go for the knockoff into the Incineroar slot. I do expect the Yveltal to protect or maybe even switch out. Gengar is actually going to be the one protecting instead. Maybe it's just a double protect, not wanting to risk anything, which would make sense. Doesn't look like the Yveltal protected unless it's slow. Yeah, I just went for a knockoff. Wow. Okay then. Okay. It's like my opponent's giving me the legends. I could just switch out Palkia though, no big deal. I can go out into my Amoonguss right here, and I think I'm just gonna go for the knockoff into the Gengar and bring it down to a potential Focus Sash. This game has really been questionable, I feel like, in terms of plays. Maybe my opponent's going for hard reads off the bat, although I don't know. I really feel like you should have Amoonguss. I really feel like you should have had Amoonguss and you brought it in turn 1. But we'll see here. Icy Wind going to come out. That's going to activate the red card on my Amoonguss. So I'm going to bye-bye Gengar. So I actually don't get rid of this Gengar's Focus Sash, which is a little bit problematic. But I feel like I'm okay with that because I get to knock off whatever's coming in. And being able to knock off maybe like the Amoonguss, if it is in the back, is pretty good because it's getting rid of an item is great. But Metagross is going to come in. So this is a Dark boosted Dark Aura knockoff. And this Metagross most certainly has an item. Knockoff, thanks to the red card activation, I actually take less damage from that as a knockoff. Oh my lord, thanks to that Dark Aura, I'm just able to knock out the Metagross. Let's find out its item. Gonna be that Choice Band. Okay, so Choice Band for probably just trying to KO Xerneas, which is pretty smart actually because you ignore Intimidate. Xerneas plus Incineroar has been very common recently as Gengar are gonna come back out. And yeah, Rain is, this is the last turn. Yep, so I can reset it later. I think the play is just to Spore the... Actually, no, the play is to protect Amoonguss here. Yeah, the play is to protect Amoonguss. Or is it? I'm trying to think of how I should finish off this endgame. I could protect, try to get Kyogre in, just click Water Spout, which I think is fine. But yeah, I think I'm just going to protect Amoonguss, and I will still try to knock off the Gengar's item. I do want to get rid of that potential Focus Sash if it is that Focus Sash on the Gengar, as we will just protect the Amoonguss here, as we're going to see that Icy Wind come out from the Gengar. And how much is this going to do? Probably nothing to the Incineroar. Let's be realistic. Incineroar really... just going to tank that, and whatever this Yveltal is going to throw off, it's going to be a knockoff into the Incineroar slot. So nice double up on my opponent, but I don't think it saves it. Gets a crit even. I don't even think a crit Icy Wind would have helped it out, as knockoff going to come out and Gengar does reveal that Focus Sash item. So feeling pretty good about my position. The rain does stop, but that actually benefits me more. And now I can go for a Spore and a Yveltal and just U-turn out into that Yveltal as well. Even if Yveltal protects, if Gengar decides to knock out one, I get the free switch in back into my Kyogre, so I feel pretty good about my position right here. So let's see what my opponent's going to do. Just going to throw off another Icy Wind, which isn't going to be able to knock out either one of my Pokemon. Maybe you get a double knockout here if you have the Snarl, which is definitely a potential option. Again, I really wouldn't mind that as much. So let's see what my opponent goes for. It is going to be Tailwind, actually. Huh. Okay. So Tailwind is an option Yveltal has been carrying. I'm not a huge fan of Tailwind Yveltal. but I can definitely see it as U-turn does come out, target down that Yveltal. I can just bring in my Kyogre, reset the rain. I get a Spore off into Yveltal, and I just Rage Powder whatever threat that's coming into the Kyogre slot. So I can just click Water Spout. I get a knockout on Gengar if it attacks, and if it protects, I just get, you know, a few free turns. So we get a Spore off into the Yveltal slot. And now we just click Rage Powder and Water Spout, and I'm pretty sure that... I'm not sure if Water Spout will knock out Yveltal. Yveltal is a really bulky Pokemon, especially if it's invested. But no matter what, I'm just getting a bunch of damage off here. And if you don't knock out my Amoonguss here, I could always switch it out the next turn and get some Regenerate to help, which could be really nice here. Yveltal gonna be fast asleep. Looks like Gengar didn't protect, which is pretty good because that should just seal up the game, because I can go out in my Incineroar after. I click Fake Out and Water Spout, and even if that doesn't happen, like I still have Palkia, and as long as I connect my Spatial Rens, I should be good. Icy Wind gonna come out, finish on my Amoonguss, not really doing much to my Kyogre. But again, as I said before, that is fine. Amoonguss is gonna go down, get a free Water Spout off. That is gonna target down the Yveltal and the Gengar for a ton of damage. That damage is insane. Kyogre's damage output is actually crazy. High special attack stat, even without the Primal reversion. Still a really strong Pokemon, as we do beat our first opponent. Very nice. So I think big turn 1 was just allowing me to knock out the Xerneas, but it looks like my opponent didn't bring Amoonguss, so I guess that is fair, because the fact is you have no potential switching. Like, my opponent had 0 potential switching. I guess what my opponent could have done was protect Icy Wind, because that could have actually been a little bit devastating depending on the situation. So I'm actually, yeah, if my opponent did have Icy Wind, maybe protect Icy Wind would have been a better play. I think risking the Xerneas was a little bit strange. Maybe my opponent was going for a Moonblast in the Palkia, expecting maybe a Trick Room variant, but we already saw that my Palkia was faster than Xerneas, so I have no reason to Trick Room there. And we already saw my Kyogre was faster than both Pokemon anyway, so a little bit confused right there. But we do take the first win, which is really nice, and I'm gonna already apologize in advance, because since I'm using the old 3DS for recording the series, it's gonna be a bit laggy when it comes out to like all those big legendaries coming out in the field, which is a little bit problem with recording it on the normal 3DS. But that is what I have. I have a loopy capture card 3DS, so we do what it is, and I don't complain, because I love this capture card. I really do. So we do take a first win there. We get an error, but yeah, I really do love Palkia. Palkia does have a lot of damage up, but its Hydro Pump is actually insane. Be able to KO non-boosted Xerneas guaranteed. I think it's a very high roll in your favor to actually knock out the bulky Xerneas. I'm pretty sure it's a very high roll in your favor, so, you know, just get the Water Spout chip and you're able to do all the big damage. And yeah, like, insane damage to Yveltal. In fact, it knocks out 4 HP Yveltal, so if it's like a fast offensive variant, you're able to do well. But it looks like, I don't know what happened to the thing. Yeah, I don't know what happened. So we'll be right back with the second game of today's episode. Alright, we got our second opponent at 1525 rating. A rated player. We got a Tapu Lele, Kartana, Lunala, Yveltal, Thundurus Fairing, and Incineroar. So one of the tougher matchups with this team is definitely Lunala. Lunala is a really scary Pokemon to deal with because of the fact that, oh man, Lunala, it's crazy. The most common items you will tend to see is the Choice Specs variant, so it does a lot of damage, so it's really, really threatening, and I don't exactly have many switches. Like, my only switch-in really is my Incineroar. It hits everything on my team pretty hard. I really do like Kyogre plus Palkia. It just does a lot of damage to my opponent's side of the field, and I really do like that. I don't really need Amoonguss too much. It doesn't even really help in this matchup, and I'm thinking Tapu Lele plus Hawlucha might be better, because it might actually be able to do something in the late game scenario. So yeah, I think that's what I want to go here. My primary objective here, if I do have a primary objective, is going to be to do a lot of damage as possible to that Lunala. Get rid of that Lunala. It's a big threat to my team, even at the cost of, I don't know, maybe Tailwind from the Kartana. Ooh, if it's Tailwind, Kartana, and Protect Lunala, I could be in trouble. There are a lot of sets that Lunala can run too, because it can get Trick Room, it gets access to Recovery, Calm Minds. It is a scary Pokemon to go up against, and Shadow Shield is an amazing ability as well. So let's see what my opponent is going to opt for lead wise, because really Kyogre plus Palkia can really sweep depending on the situation. It's going to be the Incineroar Tapu Lele, which is pretty good, because if it's not a Scarf Tapu Lele, I'm in a really good spot because Hydro Pump plus Water Spout plus Hydro Pump would sweep here, but it looks like it is the Scarf Tapu Lele. No surprise there. So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty effective lead still. I do have the option just to draw off a powerful Origin Pulse right off the bat. It's going to do a lot of damage to my opponent's Pokemon. The question is, what are you going to go for here? Are you going to lock yourself in a Psychic? Are you going to go for the Moonblast and the Palkia? Overall, I think the play is just to draw off an Origin Pulse for damage, because my opponent really doesn't have switch-ins to good Water-type moves. Kartana's really not switching unless it's maybe like a Assault Vest. I think I'll go out into my Hawlucha here, because here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so we know your choice, Scarf. If you're Moonblast, my Hawlucha should be able to survive a Moonblast if you go into the Palkia slot. If you go for Psychic in the Kyogre, I'll survive anyway. And then I get Hawlucha in for free. I get the Origin Pulse damage off, and I'm able to knock the Tapu Lele out with an Acrobatics after. Or set up Tailwind potentially. There are like a lot of potential options that I have. So I'll retreat Palkia because Palkia's damage output could be really useful later in the game. We will go out on Hawlucha here. So let's see what my opponent's going to go for, as we will activate our Psychic Seed, and we're just going to see the Psy Shock. Ooh, that's going to do a bit more, but I mean, I still survive, which is the important part. Origin Pulse, going to fire off, and it does connect with both, and look at that Origin Pulse animation. I love it, as Origin Pulse does a lot of damage, just knocks out the Incineroar, and almost knocks out the Tapu Lele. That damage is actually really insane. We get a knockout, and we're about to pick up another potentially, which is really solid here. I really do like that we got a bunch of damage off into my opponent right off the bat. I feel like the lead for my opponent really wasn't that great here. We'll see what my opponent decides to opt for next. Yveltal is going to come out. I'm okay with that because you can't Sucker Punch my Kyogre. We're in the terrain. I get a free Acrobatics into the Tapu Lele slot, and I'm going to be able to get a free Origin Pulse off into the Yveltal slot, which is going to do a lot of damage. Yeah, and I'd rather go for Acrobatics. Even if Tapu Lele switches out and it might be obvious, it's better just to get rid of the Tapu Lele and let Kyogre get a bunch of damage off. We're going to see the Sucker Punch. It looks like my opponent doesn't know the Psychic Terrain mechanics, because he can't Sucker Punch in Psychic Terrain. So yeah, maybe just forgot about that, as we will be able to get an Origin Pulse off and knock out the Tapu Lele earlier. So this is probably the best situation for me. And oh man, we actually just one-shot the Yveltal, single target. That is insane. That is actually insane. And that should be a wrap. I don't see how my opponent comes back from this. Maybe if I miss a bunch of attacks, but still, even then, like, I'm in a really solid spot here. I can't really see many ways for my opponent to get out of this. I could retreat Kyogre if I really want to. Kartana is going to be that last Pokemon. Yeah, this game is pretty much a wrap. I don't even have to risk missing attacks now, especially since I do have a Palkia with Flamethrower. So just Origin Pulse and now Acrobatics, and if we hit both, we should just be able to knock out the Kartana. So Acrobatics will come out, which does a really solid amount. Origin Pulse does connect with the Kartana, and that's a very, very quick battle. Battles, I feel like in this format, especially the Sun series, can either go really fast or very slow, depending on how your opponent's team composition is, as well as your own. Of course, I'm running a bit more of a hyper offensive team, so this team, like, the battles are going to go by quick. And if you do want to try out this team, by the way, I'll be leaving, as I always do in my videos, the paste bin of this team down below if you do want to try it out on Pokemon Showdown. And for this one, I'll be leaving the QR rental code team, QR rental code. How do you even say that? Yeah, it's QR rental code down below in the description. So if you want to try it out on Battle Spot because you don't have a VGC 2019 team ready in game yet, feel free to try out mine, which will be linked in the description down below. But otherwise, let's go on since we do have time. That was a really, really quick battle, like a really quick battle. So let's go for the final battle of today's episode, most likely, unless it's, yeah, it'll probably be the final battle no matter what, even if it's like a 5-minute battle. As we find Springs VGC from South Korea, 1523 rating as our first opponent. Not first, our third opponent. Bring a team of Serena, Kyogre, Lunala, Bronzong, Incineroar, and Tapu Koko. Pokemon wise, I'm feeling pretty okay about this matchup. I'm not really a huge fan of Hawlucha. I mean, not Hawlucha. I'm not really a huge fan of Lele. Let's see, Lele. I don't think Incineroar is that good here. I like Kyogre plus Palkia. Depends on that Serena set though. That could be really annoying. Amoonguss could be decent here because of my opponent, because I can't tell what set it is. Here's the thing, this team is really strange in the fact that it could be a Choice Scarf Kyogre or it could be a slow Kyogre, because there is a Bronzong, so it could be a Trick Room Kyogre. I lean towards more of a Trick Room Kyogre. I think I'm gonna go Palkia. Maybe I do bring in Sonora here. Because if I'm not bringing lead, I'm not bringing the terrain, which screws me over. Yeah, I think I'm going to bring Palkia, Kyogre, have Amoonguss, and Incineroar in the back. The reason I'm going to make this play is because of the fact that... The reason I'm going to make this lead is because of the... and bring Incineroar in the back is because Hawlucha, without the... Obviously, without the seed, isn't going to be doing much damage, even with his super effective acrobatics in the Serena. And I kind of need an answer to Serena, which is why I'm bringing out the Incineroar, because U-turn is going to do a lot. Flare Blitz and Rain will still do a lot. We'll see what my opponent asks for. It's going to be that Bronzong and Lunala. So, right here, I'm not really expecting the choice specs on the Lunala. I would expect... I don't know what it could be, but I mean, Water Spout plus Hydro Pump would knock out the Bronzong, and I'm really tempted just to go for it. Even if Lunala is a big threat, if it can't knock out either one of my Pokemon, as long as I have both my Pokemon alive, I feel pretty good about my situation. So, and also Lunala could carry Protect. Bronzong doesn't tend to usually carry Protect. I guess this one could. We don't know exactly, since I'm not too familiar with how Bronzong is in this format. So I think I'm just going to throw off attacks in the Bronzong. I feel like it's a okay play, and I do kind of want to deny Trick Room up if I can. Lunala could be the one carrying Trick Room, who knows, but I feel like it's just better to try and get rid of Bronzong if I can. So, we'll see. I also break the Shadow Shield if Lunala doesn't protect anyway, so another Water Spout might be able to knock it out, depending on if my opponent decides to target the Kyogre this turn. We will go for the Water Spout here. It's going to do a lot of damage here. Like, oh my lord, look at that damage on the Bronzong. Hydro Pump, we missed the Bronzong. I went for the Hydro Pump. The reason I went for the Hydro Pump is because of the fact that I didn't know if it was a 50% barrier or not, so I wanted to make sure I can knock it out, but we do miss our Hydro Pump, but that is 80% accurate. So we're going to see the Tapu Koko, I mean, not the Tapu Koko, the Trick Room go up. Tapu Koko might be in the back, so the electric terrain is still a potential factor here. If you're doing anything, I think maybe Psyshock into the Kyogre slot. I think I'm just going to switch out Amoonguss for Palkia, because I think maybe Moongeist Beam the Palkia, if anything. I'm going to double switch here. This Bronzong gets free reign to do whatever it wants if it's like a gravity setup, like Gravity Hypnosis. Although, probably not that variant because of the fact there is the... I don't think it's that variant because of the fact that Gravity Hypnosis doesn't really make much sense on this team with Tapu Koko. So we'll see what my opponent decides to go here. So I'll intimidate both of these Pokemon. We'll see what my opponent decides to go for. It's going to be the Zen Headbutt come out into the Moongus, but I does miss, unfortunately. So I think it was a double up into the Moongus slot, which is very unfortunate for my opponent. Let's see here. I mean, it wouldn't have done too much, I feel like. It's not a double up, so I don't feel really that bad about it. I can just go for the Spore here. That would have activated the red card, so I still have the red card, which is ironic. Spore is very safe here, though, into the Bronzong slot. And just go straight for the knockoff in the Lunala. I should be able to pick up a knockout on Lunala. And even if Bronzong, let's say, switches out, I still feel like I'm fine. Even if it's ally switch, I'm in an okay position. We're going to see that Bronzong switch out, though, into the Incineroar on my opponent's side. And that's a free Spore, basically, for me. And in Lunala, I'm not sure if Lunala will live a knockoff. It is 4 times effective, and I think Shadow Shield only works at full HP, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I get the Spore off into the Incineroar slot, which is pretty good. And we'll see what my opponent does. Let's see if knockoff does knock out the Lunala or not. Knockoff does knock out Lunala. It is 4 times effective. Stab from Incineroar, so able to knock out the Lunala, which is very nice. It's Electric Seed, so it was Electric Seed Calm Mind. Probably has Roost as its recovery option, or Recover. I think it gets both. But really nice knockout here for me. I'm just able to get so much potential right here as Bronzong's going to come out, which is fine. I think this might be safety goggles on the Bronzong, although I'm not really too sure. I'll just go for the Spore into the Bronzong and go for the knockoff into that Bronzong slot as well. Even if Bronzong carries Protect, that's fine. And Incineroar still has to burn a turn, and my opponent's stalling out his own or her own Trick Room. It is going to be that safety goggles Bronzong, which I do respect, as the Zen Headbutt is going to come out into the Amoonguss. Oh wow, that did a lot. Well, then again, it's not intimidated, right? So Red card going to be held up onto the Bronzong, and my opponent's forced to bring out that last Pokemon. It's going to be that Tapu Koko. So there's no... Okay, so I feel pretty good about my position, actually, because once Trick Room is over, as long as I get my Kyogre in rain, I'm able to knock out all my opponent's Pokemon with Water Spout. So I feel pretty good about that. It's a Assault Vest Tapu Koko as well. Yeah, so yeah, I feel pretty good about my spot, especially since this is the last turn of Trick Room, and I'll allow Mungus to go down if I so help it. And my opponent really can't set up Trick Room because the Bronzong is so weakened, so I'll just go for the Rage Powder here, try to get knocked out, and I'll go for the knockoff into the Incineroar slot, just to get rid of a potential item and see what it is. Like, even though Zen Headbutt Miss sucked earlier for my opponent, I'm not sure if it was the end of the world. But yeah, knockoff able into the Incineroar, get rid of its Pasha Berry, as we're going to see the Incineroar wake up, go for the knockoff into my Mungus, which isn't going to be able to pick up a knockout, but Electro Whip should be able to knock out the Amoonguss. But now my Kyogre comes in, I just click Water Spout, there's no way for my opponent to really come back in this game, so Amoonguss will go down. But I mean, without your Pasha Berry on the Incineroar, without your Assault Vest on the Tapu Koko, your Kyogre switch-ins are 0. So gonna be able to bring out Kyogre right here and just threaten a ton of damage into my opponent. I don't see a way you come out of this. I don't think any of these Pokemon can live with Water Spout. I don't care if you're max special defense Tapu Koko with Assault Vest. If your Assault Vest was knocked out, you have some chip, you're definitely going down to this. So I'll just retreat Incineroar, save it for later. I get to keep the Intimidate. I might as well just go Palkia and click Water Spout. There's really no way for my opponent to come back in this game. But we're going to see the switch out from the Incineroar into the Bronzong. So maybe my hope... I don't know. You would need Protect on the Tapu Koko for a chance, I feel like. And even then, your chance is very slim. Because you're sacking your Bronzong right here. Do you have Protect on your Tapu Koko? Because Water Spout's just going to KO. So we do get a Water Spout off. And it just knocks out both Pokemon. So even if Incineroar comes in, I have Water Spout pressure, I have Hydro Pump pressure. There's really no way for my opponent to come back in that game. So just able to pick up a victory right there. Yeah, there's really not much my opponent can do here. So we will be able to take a victory here. And it looks like we're going to go undefeated in today's episode, which I am very pleased about. I think this game... yeah, the Hydro Pump miss sucked because I wasn't able to efficiently deal with the new... my opponent basically got the Trick Room up, was able to bring out Lunala, get a Calm Mind up, because I could have doubled up the following turn outside Trick Room and just picked up the knockout. But overall, like, even then, even with the Hydro Pump miss, my opponent was able to miss Zen Headbutt, so I guess that was fair trade. So still able to pick up the win. Incineroar being able to KO Lunala was absolutely huge. Maybe I don't know if Incineroar was the better switcher. Maybe go Tapu Koko there and then double an Incineroar. But then again, I don't know the calc if Electric Seed, because you wouldn't lose an item. So even if I'm Intimidated, I feel like Electric Seed would boost you more. Yeah, maybe that's just a damage calculation that my opponent knows and I don't. I feel like if you have the Electric Seed activated, if you switch in Koko there, it's better. But who knows? But hope that everyone enjoyed today's episode of VGC 2019 Baek Battles. If you did like it, please leave a like down below. Shows your support. Again, the team is down below in the description with the QR rental code as well as the pay spin if you do want to go try it out. And of course, if you want to follow all the good stuff, all the good action, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave a comment down below as I do read them. And of course, follow me on my social medias, including Twitter and Twitch, because I do live stream and I'm going to be planning to live stream a lot of VGC 2019. So highly recommend go check it out. But otherwise, thank you all for tuning in. I hope this is going to be the start of a really great season. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day, people. And until we battle again, I'll catch you all later.